You listen to the Be Forever Cool podcast. My name is Rex 45. We got the real Louis Ortega in the building tonight. We got TJ from Two Wheels and Coffee. What's going on, fellas? How's it going tonight?
How you doing, Rexy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Like I was saying off here, dealing with the rain these last few days, but other than that, not too bad. Can't get out on the motorcycle as much as I would have liked, but you know, can't complain. There are worse things in life, I guess. How things with you, TJ?
Everything's going good. It's the weather's dying down up here. It's getting a little cold up in New England. It's excited for back-to-back MotoGP racing. Unfortunately, I didn't have the best season of my personal club racing, so I missed that series as well. Had a lot of family things going on this past month, so had to attend to those.
Yeah, family gets in the way, man. I don't know why.
Yeah.
We keep being around family. They just get in the way of the things that we want to do, like go race our motorcycles.
You tell me it's on my race weekend? Like what?
Yeah.
But,
it is what it is, man. We some years it was rough. At least it's not an injury or anything like that. It's just scheduling. That's better than rebuilding a bike or rebuilding yourself.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I did go to a funeral, and also I have my sister had a newborn, so a lot of that also went down. So, but yeah, a lot happened.
Yeah, that's life. You can't, close your eyes for a second, you miss a whole lot. That's kind of how the weekend was at Bulletin Park this past weekend, man. Crazy. To me, all the races were crazy. There were some penalties, some long lap penalties. Everything was in the mix this past weekend except for the weather. What do you guys thought of the overall weekend in a sense of MotoGP at a new track? I have my thoughts on just seeing all the accidents and stuff like that. What are your thoughts after seeing MotoGP at this track? Start with TJ.
I mean, I thought it was cool, like what we was talking about, just seeing how everyone would gel. And we saw it. There was a lot of figuring out to do. It was hard for some guys to get it down in a couple different turns. Even Mark, it took him a while to dial it in, but we knew he was gonna get it going. But it was cool to see different manufacturer. KTM get to the top, Pedro Costa. So expected a lot out of him, but unfortunately his expectations, it wasn't, Mark was a little too much. I thought the weekend was good. The fans were more than I expected. They were, it was packed from what I can see. So it was a good turnout. I'm sure that they'll be back next year for that.
Okay. How about yourself, Louis? What are your thoughts? What being a new track for everyone was, did it seem like it was the great equalizer? Sometimes we'll see that with weather. What are your thoughts?
This is very similar to what happened last week at the Red Bull Ring. This is a similar type track. Point, shoot, slow corner, point, shoot, slow corner. Not a lot of places for clean passing while riding. You have to pass while braking. So you only have like 2 or 3 opportunities. You got to set them up. And we saw that the passing was minimal. And when it was happening, it was either happening very violently. So you were taking somebody out or pushing them wide, or you out braking them into at the end of a straight. I said this about this track a couple of weeks ago when World Superbike was here. It's a nice track. It definitely needs some improvement. It's not wide enough for MotoGP bikes to have a very competitive and exciting race. After a certain point, it becomes very follow the leader, very try to get the right drive out of the last corner to try to draft the person and pass them on the brakes. And it makes for a good thing when riders have to learn a new track. But it also is a little bit anticlimactic where the track's so narrow that you can't really do a lot of moves without doing what we saw. We saw a lot of people get pushed off into the, runoff areas. We get a lot of people get pushed off wide. A lot of people out breaking themselves into corners to try to make up that last 1 or 2 bike lengths. So all in all, it was good. It's always nice to see MotoGP go to a new track and try a new track. But I'm hoping between now and next year, which I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to widen this track in 1 year's time, but this track definitely needs to be wider. It needs some different runoff. I mean, I was super scared for Bastianini when he crashed in that left right switchback.
Yeah.
Because when I first saw that corner during the World Superbike week, and I'm like, if you crash there, you're going to end up there. And if you're in a pack of like 10 or 12 bikes and you're in the front, there's a good chance you're going to take some people out that are making that right-hander, or you're going to get run over. And when I saw him tuck the front end there and I saw him sliding through the dirt, and I was like, oh my God, he's going to go back on track. And he's looking back at the riders. I mean, thank God these guys, the corner is slow enough where the guys could kind of react a little bit, but it's still a super dangerous situation. Those quick little left-right transitions that are short like that. I mean, we see some left-right transitions like that at other tracks. Like Le Mans has that. Turn 2 and 3 at Le Mans are the same kind of like left-right switchback, but there's a little bit more gap and distance between the left and the right. And the runoff area, if you crash, it's kitty litter. So it's going to slow you down. And the chance of you really coming back on track, if you crash, are low. If you try to ride it out, are high.
Right.
But here, it's such a short little shoot from the right to the left to the right that if you crash on the left, I mean, you can clearly see it's all paved. Nothing's going to slow you down. If anything, if you've crashed, you know that when you hit the ground, it's like you gain 10 miles an hour. You don't lose them, especially if you're on gravel. You start to slide faster than you were riding, it feels like.
Oh, yeah. No, I got to say, it's one of the luckiest crashes that I've seen because, you mentioned him, but also the bike. Didn't collect anyone
Didn't take anybody out.
And,
I mean, it did mess up a couple guys. Had to run wide, run around, but thank God it didn't take anybody out or cause a bigger crash. Or it could have been ugly. Let's put it that way.
No, I do agree with that as well. I mean, I agree with that as well. That was pretty dangerous for Anea crashing there, and it's good to see. Not good to see, but you need examples. So I think there definitely needs to be a change up. I felt like it was a nice track, and it was good to see bikers, the riders there, and the fans. But as far as riding, there was, I don't think they got in a full rhythm because there's a lot of go, stop hard, and a little chicane and back go, and so the rhythm wasn't there. So there needs to be a little better design, maybe 1 or 2 corners, stretch it out a little bit. But yeah, I do agree with you with that, Lewis.
Yeah, no, it's some change has to happen. I don't know if the riders, I don't know how long the contract is for, how many years, but it's going to be one of those races that, you got to be looking out for each other a little bit more than you normally would. And it's tricky when, every rider is fighting for something. So, it's that balance of safety, which we saw. And as you mentioned, Lewis, a couple of guys lost some positions because of that. And, that's money for the whole team, all that, so it is. And we saw with World Superbike a little bit as well. So it has to be something that they're talking about. I don't know how much of that track they would have to change and whether they can do it within 1 year to get it ready. I mean, even less than 1 year, because World Superbike will be coming back, and I'm pretty sure that they'll want some changes as well. And the other crash with Acosta, where he almost took out the cameraman. Mike almost took out the cameraman.
Bro,
that was a full send.
So Jack Miller sends, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that the bike is taken, and and I these camera folks, they already know what the risk is and stuff like that. But when I don't know, he might have been like 18 feet up. My depth perception watching on TV, it may not be quite there, but it wasn't 5 feet up, and that bike was up there. Any thoughts?
Yeah,
TJ?
that was I mean, just being a spectator, like, thank God he was caged up. You wouldn't think, like, most cameramans that far out just got the camera, but the safety first. So it was pretty cool that they had him caged up, and thank God he was okay. But who would expect a bike to fly into the stands like that? And yeah, that bike was set. Pedro Acosta definitely was trying to put his all in, and obviously it's a new track, and we don't know what bikes can do crashing heavy like that yet. So,
Anything you want to add, Lewis?
Yeah, you just never know the dynamics of a motorcycle going at that speed. You know, a different kitty litter would have maybe reacted differently to the bike and maybe kept it from bouncing so much. Maybe the kitty litter that they're using there, the gravel pit that they're using there, is just not soft enough, so it causes for, you know, it helps facilitate Cirque du Soleil with your bike. But yeah, that was just a freak little accident. But it's those freak little accidents, and again, this is something that hopefully the safety committee from Dorna looks at when they go to these tracks and they start looking at runoff and they start looking at the type of kitty litter that's used, because not every company or not every track uses the same kitty litter. Some use sand, some use a mix of sand and gravel, some use a mix of gravel and stone, and then some use, like, this track looks like it uses that like that 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch white stone as the gravel trap. And if you've ever crashed in that, it hurts, man. Like that's probably the worst stuff to crash in, because it's painful to crash in when you're bouncing on that, because you don't really slow down that much. You actually start to bounce off of the top of it. It's just a little bit softer than pavement, but it still feels like pavement. And when you start bouncing, every bounce, that's another hit that you're taking, another hit that you're taking. And it also introduces more tumbling, because you're not sliding and dissipating energy. There's more of a chance of you getting caught and starting to tumble. And we saw that this weekend. I mean, Johan Zarco, he looked like a rock skipping across the lake when he hit that same gravel trap.
Yeah.
Skip. I guarantee you, he woke up this morning, he has black and blues all over his back, all over his arms, all over his legs. So again, safety commissions need to look at stuff like this before they start to approve tracks, because especially at this level, these guys are going even faster, 4 seconds faster than World Superbike. That's what Marquez kind of clocked in at. And World Superbike's already going fast. So you got to take into account all this momentum, all this speed, and keep your riders safe, because at the end of the day, your two products are the bikes and the riders. Correct. And the bikes can't ride themselves, and it'll be a really boring race just watching the riders race themselves on foot. So you got to keep the riders safe, man.
It's called the Olympics.
Yeah.
Let's talk about qualifying. Bezecchi had to come out of Q1. Digia had to come out. Bagnaia was in there. Bender was in there. Zarco. These are guys that normally would find themselves in Q2. There were a lot of yellow flags, right? So a lot of laps got canceled. So, what are your thoughts, TJ, on the qualifying? What are your thoughts? I'm not going to put words in your mouth, so I'm not going to pick out any one rider. But out of those 5 riders, any one of those shock you that they were in Q1? Had to come out of Q1? Well, only 2 came out, but they were stuck in Q1.
I mean, some big names, but at this point, it's not really a shock anymore. I mean, it's pretty sad to see Pecco fighting in Q1 still. And Bezecchi, for the year that he's been having, I mean, yeah, him going in Q1 was also tough to see. But, I mean, coming down to the wire, it was pretty close. I mean, looking at it, Brad Binder was almost on his way to Q2. I think Digi stole it right at the end.
They had the same lap time.
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, but I think Digi had a better overall, session. I think it was. So that was unfortunate for Brad, because I want to see him get in Q2, see what he can do, and get a better starting grid position. But yeah, seeing Zarco and Martin down there, way down there, like 17th for Martin and 18th for Zarco. Yeah. Felt like that Zeki and Digi was definitely worth going to Q2.
Okay.
Can't feel bad for certain these riders anymore, like Pecco and Jack Miller and, Jorge Martin is working his way back, but can't
You
feel
don't have
bad.
to feel bad for Miller, man. He just got a new contract to not finish the race. Like, how much better of a weekend can you have? You talked all that shit on Friday and all that shit on Saturday that I got another job. You guys don't give me a job. They give him a job, and the next day he can't finish the race. That's
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a few people that didn't finish the race, Lewis. Come on.
yeah, but not all of them got a new contract the day they didn't finish the race.
I think Furman held the gear last year after he signed with Ducati.
I mean, that was different. I'm sure he was riding for a lot less money in Moto 2 than he was going to be riding for MotoGP. At that point, I'm actually saving in my investment by keeping myself out of harm's way.
Oh man, it's motorcycle racing. Keep yourself out of harm's way and go back into the trailer.
Well, that's what he did last year in Moto 2. As soon as he got that contract, he started riding like he was back in the trailer. He's like, yo, let these guys kill each other up front. I already got a job for next year.
Yeah. All right. Well, so let's talk about the riders in Q1 and how they got there. But you're right about Miller. He's asked the question, so he has to kind of answer it. But he knows the game now. So, he knows.
Yeah, he's been around a long time. I mean, I in Q1, I was happy to see both of the Honda guys get to Q1 and even finish where they did in both races.
Q2, you mean? Q2?
I mean, Q2, yeah. And even finish where they finished. I mean, Marini had an excellent weekend. And if anything, I would tell Pecco Bagnaia to do a Marini. Like, just take some time off, stop worrying about it, because Marini came back and he looks like a refreshed rider. Like, he looks like he has no pressure on his shoulders. He's just out there riding, trying to get back into the rhythm, and he did really well in both races.
He also got a new contract.
Yeah, I mean, at least he rewarded them for the new contract without bringing the bike back in a box.
I agree with you there. It's tough because, to tell somebody not to say something in the heat of the moment, chances are you might say something you regret. And some of them do. Bezzecchi got through Q1, got second. I mean, he seems to be the only one challenging Mark. Bastianini looked really well. I feel bad for him as well. Crashing out and stuff. It's tough.
In the first lap.
Yeah, Quartararo looked good. Some unusual suspects as far as Pol Espargaro, I guess that's the only one. So the top 12 riders, I mean, they pretty much set the bar, for lack of a better word. What are your thoughts on those guys in Q2, TJ?
I mean, like for Bezzecchi, we were talking about, for him going to Q1 to Q2. For him getting second, being first on the grid, that is big. And same with Digi. So I don't know how much tires they use between the two or how much they can save, but just to have that pace and to be up front, it was good to see the VR46 guys up there. Sorry, I didn't hear. Yeah, it's especially after the last round. And Fabio and up there, unfortunately, with his little incident in the sprint. But I thought that it was good, like Lewis said, to see the Hondas in there. I like seeing Joan Mir back in effect after basically 2 years of absence, always crashing. So it's good to see his name back out there. Unfortunately, GP didn't have luck again, but he's doing a lot better.
That target came back.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But yeah, the Honda boys definitely did good. It was good to see Luca Marini have a good weekend. To see the factory, finish well. That was good to see.
Lewis, is it, I mean, like VR46, do you think last round was just an anomaly? Because they look a lot better. They looked a lot better this round.
No, they did look a lot better. And this is a weird thing because I thought they would do better the last round because the Ducati's a fast bike. The last round was a similar type track, a lot of point and shoot. And they did well at this round. Morbidelli did a little bit better, but he picked the wrong tire choice on Sunday. And that's why he started to drop back and struggle a little bit. But all in all, they had a really good weekend. They also had the most cringe-worthy moment of the weekend where they sat on both sides of Marc Marquez in the car that takes them from Parc Ferme to the winner's circle. Yeah. And that was the most awkward 3 minutes of TV that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I was like it was cringe, man, because first DJ gets in, he doesn't even say hi, congratulations or anything. He literally like, what lap time did you do? Well, okay. And then he starts looking out this window, and Morbidelli sits down and just starts looking at this window. Marquez in the middle, like, I've been in this car a lot of times this year. A lot of times. This is the weirdest fucking time that I've ridden in this car this entire year. Like, they barely spoke to each other after that first exchange. They just
yeah, I don't know how much Frankie likes. I don't know how much Frankie likes Marquez. I don't know.
I don't think that they between the three of them, like, there's definitely that unwritten tension.
Yeah,
being on the VR46 team and everything else. Like, I didn't expect them to go in there and, have the normal chit chat. Hey man, how'd you do? How's your tire? How'd this? Nah, just sit down. We'll get there. That was some awkward moments, man.
That's funny though. It was funny though. I thought that Morbidelli was actually losing tire in the sprint. But he actually was able to hold it out. And then in the GP, he had another Morbidelli moment, but he saved himself. I don't know if y'all remember that, but when Pedro Costa had it and he pushed him out, and he was supposed to give up the position. And I don't know if it was just the way the corners are, where you don't look down at your dash, but it took him like, I think two laps or so to finally realize it. But I was like, thank God you did that, because
yeah, because it double up,
or maybe 15 seconds, because it was getting close to the end of the race at this point. It was like 2-3 laps left, so he saved himself. But it was good to see him, the VR46 guys finish where they did.
I completely agree. Let's talk about Honda a little bit. We touched on a little bit earlier in the sprint. They look really good. Marini, he fought. He kept. He was able to keep Aldeguer behind him and stuff like that. So is Honda getting closer, because it's not just Zarco anymore. We're seeing Mir. Even though Mir is having bad luck, he probably would have been where he's at now maybe 3-4 rounds ago.
Yeah, I think their setup is getting a lot better. They're definitely making the slow steps. I'm sure that they're taking advantage of the contingencies that they have. I know that we know what they're available, what they have, but I don't know if they really talk about exactly what tracks they go through and testing all the time, because they got access to pretty much everything. But they're definitely making a step in the right direction. To be competitive with Ducati and Aprilia right now, and KTM, that's another challenge. Yamaha is also fighting, but Honda's working their way. And it's good to see, they're finishing with 3 to 4 riders instead of 1 or 2.
Right.
I think Zarco was just giving his all. So he doesn't care. He'll throw the bike away, but it's just to get that data that they really need. And it seems like it's kind of working in a way.
Yeah. Lewis Honda is doing well. We had 4 different manufacturers in the top 5 in the main race. So it's not just Honda, KTM, or Aprilia. That from 13 to 6th, I believe Martin did, or 4th. 13 to 4th is pretty impressive for a guy who's had 2 pretty bad rounds coming back.
That, and also, if you think about it, only 3 people didn't finish the race. So it's not like 7 people crashed in front of him and he moved up 12 spots.
Right.
He did pick his way through. But if you look at who he picked his way through, he should have picked his way through. You see where Bastianini or where Bezzecchi is on the same bike. And, he's finishing right up at the front. He's getting podiums. He's, in the sprint, he was not on the podium, but he was still in the top 10. So this is kind of where that bike belongs. And for him to finish fourth behind Bezzecchi was really good. Again, you can start breaking into the numbers, and, Morbidelli had to drop back a space. And when he dropped back a space, he lost a space. But he still did a great job, man. From where he started at the back of the pack through Q2, through Q1, not having a great start and picking his way through on a track that, again, it's a good track for the Aprilia. I can't take anything away from him. Now I hope he can build off of this. I believe Saturday was the day his bike let go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
no, I think
it was two Aprilias that let go on Saturday, right?
On Friday.
On Friday.
Yeah. That was the first practice. Yeah.
So, again, he worked through the problems, and this is what he should be doing. Don't worry about getting on the podium. Just worry about getting to sixth, then worry about getting to fifth, then worry about getting to fourth, and just worry about being competitive and being in the top 10. Right now, that's all he needs to do. Is if he can stay in the top 10, finish out the year with strong results, and then start next year with a good base. Even though there's probably still a little bit of bad blood in the Aprilia garage, nothing fixes that faster than winning, man. Winning cures everything. Losing, feels like cancer, but winning cures everything. So once he starts finishing, getting good results and everything else, all the past will be the past, and they'll just worry about the moment. So he's good, man. I'm glad to see him healthy again. I never want to see somebody hurt. I'll talk a lot of shit about people for being, difficult to work with and things like that. But I'll never wish ill of somebody when they get hurt, because I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see somebody lose their livelihood or their career through an injury.
I completely agree. Let's talk about Marquez. He's others are setting the bar and he's moving the needle. It looks like he's just going to win all year at this moment. Maybe Bezzecchi, maybe Martin, maybe Morbidelli. One of these guys might be able to steal one. Is he going to win the title by Mazzano?
I mean, it's looking like it. I mean, this guy's getting P1 or P2 and all across the board. Like, I don't know when his last practice or qualifying where he was lower than a third place. But I think he might pull it off. And I think he's just trying to win at every single track. Just another milestone for himself. But he's looking perfect. I mean, if he has to ride around mistakes, which we know he is, you can't see it. I mean, it's just, even in the GP race, he had a little incident in turn one, and I was like, oh, this is going to be good. Now Mark's back like 3-4 places. But, he just did what he had to do, made it look easy, and, picked his way through. And I think he's going to, if you don't win it by Mazzano, it's going to be a race out. So, for sure.
Yeah. I would say Marquez is doing what Bagnaia did last year with managing the time. He's not racing to be the Marc Marquez of before his injury. He's just doing math on people. What are your thoughts, Louis?
He's also.
Oh, go ahead, TJ.
Yeah, go ahead, TJ.
Oh, sorry, I don't want. I was gonna say he's also about to pull off like the highest points in history. I mean, with the sprint and GP combined, like, who's gonna top that? Like this man's pulling off an incredible season.
Yeah, two closest people to him, they ain't scoring points like that to keep up.
Nah, I mean, I think I sent the results the other day. He hasn't lost a race or a sprint since May.
Yeah,
we're about to go into September.
13 sprint races and 10 GPs. We're
going into September. My man has not lost a race in Q2 or Q3 of this year. That's ridiculous, Like that's playing the video game on easy mode. It's crazy, and I like what I'm hearing from the other riders, where they're not just kind of showering praise on him, but they're showering realistic praise on him of why he's doing what nobody else is doing. Like, they were saying a lot of guys went with the soft tire because they couldn't get the medium tire to work. And, Mark went with the medium tire because he knew the tire wouldn't work at the beginning, but he knew he can keep the pace of the people with the soft tire just enough. So when his tire kicked in, he knew their tires were going to start to drop off. And he still had enough time left in the race, knowing from the practices how long it takes for the medium tire to kick in, for him to be able to come back and pass. So all he had to do was manage the time between himself and first place for the first half of the race. And as long as it didn't get over a certain amount of seconds, when his tire got up to temperature, he knew he could go.
Right.
That's just playing the game at another level, man. Everybody else is just trying to make turn one.
Yeah, and I'd have to say he's probably still a few levels up if he needs to. He's still got more in the bag. If somebody get past phase one.
The fact that on the last lap he put the fastest lap of the race, I think, in the last lap was just like, oh, by the way, just in case you guys didn't realize it, I had another second on everybody that I could just pull out of my ass whenever I wanted. I pulled it out in the last lap because I knew I could, and I still wouldn't crash. Like that's just another level of domination. That's just letting everybody know, hey, you guys need to step up. You think you're here, but you're not here. But let's see if you can carry this over to the next couple of rounds. Maybe there's some bikes like, if you think about it, when we first got to Europe, Yamaha was looking really good. And then we got to the faster tracks and Yamaha's not looking so good anymore. And now we're going back to some flowy tracks where Yamaha might look good again, but now Honda might start to struggle. Even though Honda has introduced supposedly a lot of new parts to the factory team, they might start to struggle. Or KTM might start to struggle because they've been setting up their bikes for these faster tracks, and now we go back to the flowy tracks. So, again, this is the ebbs and flows of the season, but the only person that's staying consistent is one Marc Marquez. He just finds a way with the tools he has at every track he goes to get his bike to work.
Yes, he does. Let's talk about Alex Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia, number 2 and number 3 in the championship. Alex got a little bit of Morbidelli juice because he's starting to make foolish mistakes and getting in any sport, you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose because of penalties. You don't want to give up something because of penalties. And these guys are really shooting themselves in the foot. Granted, Marquez was probably going to beat them anyway, but they're just making the hill a little bit harder to climb. What are your thoughts on these two guys? You think they can still stay 1 and 2 where we got Bez come in, and I think Aldeguer's up there as well. What are your thoughts on their performance? Well, not as much as they were at the beginning of the season.
I mean, it's just how it's going to happen. I mean, they're going to finish the season exactly the same way. I mean, I didn't expect Alex to be on such a high going into this year. I'm surprised that he is number 2. I mean, he's on a great bike, and his brother is amazing. But to him to be second in the championship, I expect maybe Pecco. But yeah, I hope he can cut out the foolish mistakes. As far as Pecco, seeing him give up in a race and complaining all the time, that's these are mistakes that you can't make. He's not even, trying to crash, not trying to crash just to figure it out. It's just he's trying to scare. But yeah, I think Bezzecchi is about to come up in. I got to check what the point standings are. How far
Bezzecchi's 4th in the championship. Acosta is 5th. Aldeguer is 8th. I thought he was closer, but you got Morbidelli and Digia 6th and 7th right now. So I don't, if Bagnaia is the way he's going, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bezzecchi is going to catch Bagnaia. Bagnaia has only been on the podium maybe a handful of times this year. I think Bezzecchi is right up there with him, or even more. Yeah. And the pace he's going, I mean, I'm sure he's going to want to at least finish 3rd in the championship. That'll be really good for Aprilia.
Interesting stat, TJ. Bagnaia and Alex won 1 race and 7 podiums each.
Yeah, I do see that. Yeah.
Just one has been more consistent to the front than the other.
Yeah, the third place over second place. Well, that's the points discrepancy.
Zacky's right behind on 1 race and 5 podiums. So I feel like he's got more to give by the end of this season. I feel like he's going to be up there at least 3-4 more times. We're talking about Zachy. So we'll see. Hopefully, Alex can get his act together. No long lap penalties or no penalties, and I don't know. Pecco just, I don't know. He's just been in the fire all year, so he can't get himself cool.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Lewis, on those two? Are they just going to keep giving up points to everyone else?
I think Alex will reset a little bit faster than Pecco, because even though Alex is in second, realistically, nobody thought Alex was going to be in second. So I don't think he's going to have any added pressure, and nobody believes he's going to beat Mark anyway. So he's really just riding for second. And then if he finishes second or third, it's still a huge accomplishment for him, because nobody expected him to even do that. I think the person with the real problem here is Pecco. And Pecco just needs to do a hard reset, man. Pecco needs to stop worrying about all the things he worries about and just do a hard reset, man. Right now, for me, it feels like Pecco's in quicksand. And the more you fight against quicksand, the faster you sink. So he just needs to stop trying to fight all these battles that he's fighting in his head or whatever, because he's fighting battles in his head. The bike can do it. Morbidelli is doing it. Alex is doing it. Aldeguer is doing it. Mark is doing. Everybody that has pretty much the same bike is doing it, except for him. And the only difference is he's the only guy that's putting extra pressure on himself, because nobody expects Morbidelli to be where he's at. Nobody expects Digia to be where he's at, Alex to be where he's at, and sure as hell nobody expects Furman Aldeguer to be where he's at. Pecco's putting all this extra pressure. I mean, realistic, at the beginning of the season, nobody thought that he was – we thought he was going to be Rookie of the Year, but we didn't think he was going to be, fighting for, the top 5 in the points this point of the year.
Fair enough.
Which he's right there. He's at 126 to get to the top 5 is 164. That's only 2 races, really, if the person crashes. So it's not an impossibility for him to get into the top 5. And I think there's still going to be some movement in the top 5 between now and the end of the year. I think Alex will more than likely finish in second place. I don't think Bez will reach Alex unless Alex has a complete collapse. I think Bez will reach Bagnaia. And I think possibly Pedro Acosta can reach Bagnaia as well. So we could see Bagnaia to drop to 5th and Bezzecchi and Acosta move to 3rd and 4th.
Wow. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. Yeah.
But at the same time, we could see Aldeguer move past Digi in the next race. And within 3 races, he could move past Morbidelli. So there's still some movement to be done between 2nd and 8th. I think the odd man out is Zarco. I don't think he's going to get any higher than where he's at now. And I don't think Quartararo, unless we start going to some tracks where Yamaha finds a miracle, I don't think he's going to be competing for anything higher than 6th or 7th place at the most. So there's still some movement to be done. The main mover, though, has to be Pecco. Bagnaia. Bagnaia has to, I don't know, man, get out of his head, stop fighting the quicksand, go with the flow, and just ride the bike, man. Enjoy riding the bike again. Find your joy, find your love of riding motorcycles or racing.
Right.
And go out there and just put it on there, Beat Morbidelli, beat Gian Antonio, beat Pecco. Don't worry about Mark. Don't worry about Alex. Don't worry about the top 3. Just beat the guys in front of you. Just stay in that top 5, man. I know he said he's not here for the race for 4th and 5th place. Right now, he's wishing he could get 4th or 5th place.
Yeah.
If he can hold off on that 3rd place, that would be a good accomplishment for what he's been going through.
Right.
For sure.
And I wonder, he probably could, and it's probably the mental part of it that's probably having him dropping a few positions back. He probably could fight for 3rd and 4th realistically. But as you guys are saying, I can't put myself in his shoes as far as, being world champion or double world champion. But there's a little bit of ego that goes into that. There's a little bit of, you got to keep going and you're taking things a little bit too serious and stuff like that. And like you said, Lewis, sometimes you just have to get back to having fun and find a way to start having fun again, because that usually fixes everything in life. When you start having a little bit of fun. And, he did just, get married and, a lot of life changes thing. You got, the current Valentino Rossi as your teammate. So, I mean, regardless, that has to put some pressure on you. Even though you got 2 titles, this dude still got 8. So what are you going to say? What are you going to do? So it is very tricky. So hopefully he'll save grace and have a better season. But he has to walk it alone. Let's talk about Moto2. We got a rookie that beat out some really fast guys that are heading to MotoGP next year. What are your thoughts on Moto2 race and that finish?
I mean, all I remember is that finish. It was like that elbow, like it was a little back and forth. It was a crazy fight between the 3 bikes towards the end, and David Alonso was able to pull it out, which is pretty sweet. But that was a cool race. Of course, I always root for number 44. I want him to win the championship, but then he didn't. He finished Antoinette finished 6th.
6th, yeah.
6th, yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of riders that didn't make it. Lopez, Darren Bender, Sasaki, Vietti, and it's a tough battle out there with these same machines that they're on. It's any given Sunday, pretty much.
Right. I mean, do you think just being at a new track for everyone also played a part in that? Do you think Alonso would have, if it was more familiar to some of these other guys, do you think he would have pulled it out? Because it seems like, you had some guys running up front outside of Marrero and Gonzalez. Everybody else has kind of been up and down. But man, Alonso really, he had that late pace that Bastianini's having, that Aldegir's having, and it was crazy.
Yeah, I got to give big props to all my people from Colombia. It's been a while since there's been a Colombian at this level. I mean, last year he showed how good he was in Moto3. When he came to Moto2, I mean, Moto2 is a real meat grinder. There's a lot of different levels of talent there. There's some guys that have been there for a long time that know the bikes. So for him to go to Moto3, come to Moto2, and be able to put it at the top step, that's a huge accomplishment, man. There's a bunch of guys in Moto2 that have been there for a long time that have never seen that top step, have never tasted that Prosecco. So I think it's a great thing for him as a young rider to taste that, because once you taste it, you got the hunger for it. Once you taste the blood, man, you go swimming for more blood, So I'm hoping that, this might be the thing that, like, hey, I can beat these guys. Like on any given Sunday, I can go out there and be the best. And I would love to see him do well, because I would love to see him or some other guys make it to MotoGP and change the mix in MotoGP from Italian, Spanish, Italian, French guy, Italian, French guy, Spanish. Like, I would like to see somebody from this hemisphere of the planet in MotoGP. And, he might be the one. He might be the guy that gets the call up in a year or two if he continues to show, this kind of pace, especially late pace, man. Late pace is the hardest pace. It's easy to go fast when your tires are fresh and when your fuel drops off, which is like right after the first half of the race. In that middle part of the race, when the fuel is light and your tires still have some meat. But to go fast at the end, when your fuel is really light and your tires have no meat, that's when the real skill shows up. That's when the bravery, because you got to be brave, man. You got to be able to push a little bit more than anybody else. And just the skill to keep it up on twos and be able to find your way and get to that front, man. Get to that front, elbows out, banging bars, doing what you got to do to get on the top step.
And talking about a guy that can make a mistake and then come back and put it on the top step, because he crashed out at Bruno doing the same thing. And, now he's like, I know what I did wrong. I figured it out and, and collected it. You mentioned, folks from this side of the hemisphere in MotoGP. Moreira, he's Brazilian and he'll be in MotoGP next year for LCR. Which is pretty crazy. I heard the name, and I don't know if I was not paying attention at the beginning of the season, but Adrian Huertas, he came from World Superbike, right?
Adrian, Huertas,
yeah, right. So he's he's kind of like Gonzalez, the second Gonzalez, or Jake Dixon, because Jake Dixon's been the last one to kind of make that transition over from the World Superbike, Super Sport class. And coming over, Munoz is going to Moto 2 next year, so he's doing double duties in Moto 3 and Moto 2 right now, covering for the Red Bull, covering for Dennis Anchu. What are your thoughts on those guys? The rookie, Munoz coming over from Moto 3 to Moto 2, and then what these other guys are doing in Moto 2 right now. TJ.
He's been doing his thing. Munoz coming from Moto 3 to Moto 2. I'm trying to check to see where his stats are this year, but I think it's a good look. As far as the competition, I don't know how old he is, but I think it's a good look. What team is he actually going to?
Yeah, I believe he's going to Altran next year. He's going to the team that I think that I gotta check now. Honestly,
all right, let's check too.
Red Bull. I want to say it's the same team as Canet, but I don't think so.
No, I think Canet is moving to
VDS,
VDS,
right? Yeah,
and then this guy's moving to the Phonetic Racing.
Yeah.
So they're just switching teams.
So yeah,
and then I've always been an Anchu fan as well. I don't think you mentioned Anchu, but I remember when he came up from Moto 3 to Moto 2 as well.
Oh, but yeah, pretty impressive. Before we get out of here, well, anything you want to add to that, Lewis?
No. The last item I think we're going to talk about, we could just go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about Jonathan Rea retiring at the end of 2025. I don't know how many rounds are left. He probably should have maybe announced it a little bit sooner to maybe have a farewell party. Maybe he kind of want to fade to the black, like some of these other riders. What are your thoughts on, what Jonathan Rea has done for the sport? 6 world titles. 6 world titles. What are your thoughts, TJ?
I thought he's done tremendous for the sport. He's definitely become a liking by a lot of people. For not being in the biggest stage. I think he came over from Australia, I believe, and won over here. But like his past 2 seasons has been horrible. When he switched manufacturers, he expected a lot, and he probably just couldn't find it. And his results have not been there, so it's kind of a sad way to go out. But I think he deserved a much longer, farewell instead of like announcing it now. But from my time of watching, I didn't really get to see the best of Jonathan Rea in all the battles, but I'm sure I'm gonna dig in and watch more history on him. But from what I can see, he's definitely an icon.
Yeah, it's sad to see him go, but there's one competitor that is undefeated in the history of all the athletics, and that's age and time. You're never going to beat time, man. Father Time is undefeated. He's like 17 trillion and old. Father Time and the internet, the two things you can never defeat. And to be honest with you, I mean, Jonathan Ray, Kawasaki took a big downturn in 2021, and his last championship happened to be with Kawasaki in 2020. And it kind of just showed that, as good as a rider he was, if you don't have a great bike to work with you, you're only as good as the equipment that you're working with. So he struggled with Kawasaki for a few years, and then he thought that he could find a place in Yamaha because he saw that Top Rack had good results in Yamaha, and then when he got to Yamaha, he realized again Top Rack had good results because it's Top Rack, not because it's Yamaha.
Johnny, he did get hurt too. You don't think that played?
No, and he's had a couple of injuries. Yeah, for sure.
He was out for a grip when he got hurt at the beginning with Yamaha.
Mm-hmm.
I think that played any part in it. And also, for those that know, and I think you had mentioned this to us first on the show, he did race in MotoGP in 2012
twice. He had 2 races and finished top 10 in both races on a Honda.
Yeah, 17 points.
Yep. I think he was finished 6th and 8th or 7th and 9th, something like that. But he did have 2 top 10 finishes, filling in for, I think it was Casey Stoner.
Okay.
Yep. So he did get the opportunity to race in MotoGP, and he did very well. But in a time when MotoGP bikes aren't the rolling technological marvels that they are now and have 17,000 buttons, they had a lot less buttons. They had a lot of throttle and brake.
Right.
And, that he could definitely do. He could throttle and brake. It's going to be sad to see him go, but I think he probably should have thought this out last year and just announced that this was his last year and kind of did a long farewell tour. There's only 4 rounds left. So he's going to have 4 rounds to kind of, say his goodbyes and everything else. And, to try to have World Superbike put together a nice little farewell package for him for his last race. And I just hope between now and the end of the year, all goes well. He doesn't get hurt. He stays safe. He's got a beautiful family, and he's got more money than he's going to need for the rest of his life. So he's good, man.
He's good.
Do you think? In a row.
I was going to say, do you think that, we're going to see another rider anytime soon to get 6 in a row? I mean, we could say the same about MotoGP as well. I mean, are we going to see that 6 in a row? I mean, that, it's... Yeah, that's. I mean, I know Marquez. I think got like 5 in a row, or something like that.
I think he had 4 and 3, or
like from 15 to 19, he had 4, right?
He had 4. Then he lost the one to Jorge. Then he had 4 more, and then he got hurt.
Yeah. So
he would have had 5, because that year he was doing what he's doing this year. He was playing track day coach at every event and showing people that he's, 2 seconds a lap faster than everybody else until he broke his arm. Had he not broke his arm, he would have cleaned up that year, and he wouldn't have spent the next 2.5 years, 3 years struggling to try to rehab an arm that they put together incorrectly. So they had to break it again. Like, the dude has been through the meat grinder.
Yeah, for sure. So do you think, we'll see, anyone like Johnny Ray?
I don't think so.
Especially
repping a manufacturer like Kawasaki, repping Kawasaki. And
I don't think a guy would stay with one team that long anymore, because they probably want to go to MotoGP instead they win like 2 or 3.
Exactly. And I felt like once he left Kawasaki, I mean, I know they had their issues, but when he went to the Yamaha, it's like that's the only bike he knew was the Kawasaki at that time. It's like
but in all fairness, there were other riders struggled too. It wasn't just him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was coming back from injury, but I don't think Yamaha won this year yet, right?
No, it's just he couldn't get anything out of it. He was crashing a lot too, So
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
now that I look at the world champions going all the way back to 88 in World Superbike, yeah, man, 6 in a row is impressive. That's impressive, man. The next longest streak is 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Carl Froggy twice won 2 in a row. That's it. After that, Doug Poland won 2. Fred Merkel won 2. Oh. Yeah, man, that's it. Max Biaggi won 1 or 2, but in between he lost 1 to Carlos Checa. So 6 in a row, man. That's gonna be up there for a while, man.
Yeah, especially with these new riders, coming in. We might as well talk Ika Ono. He's going to Ducati factory.
Yep.
I didn't see that coming. Yeah. I'm happy for Iko, though. I'm happy for him because, I think KTM did him dirty when they got rid of him out of MotoGP.
Yeah, they did.
He's taking Bautista's spot, right?
Unless they add a third bike.
That's the best part about it, is that now we don't have to listen to Bautista crying anymore.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where he goes.
That's going to be a good team, though, because Ika was already, if he could stay on the Honda, he would be top 5 if he could stay on the Honda.
Yeah.
So on a capable bike, I think we don't have Top Rock, so we'll sit here and say, if Top Rock was here, it might have been different next year. But Delino is going to the BMW. Like, who's going to fight against Bulaga next year?
Next year is going to be the Bulaga show, man.
Yeah. So Ika's in a good spot. He could finish,
top 3.
In Moto 2, Ika was a better rider than Bulaga at that time. So,
the only thing that Bulaga has on him is that Bulaga has already got 2 years on the bike. Yeah. So he's already got that experience and the gel with the team. And I still think that next year will be the Bulaga show. But I think Ika will have the best results he ever had. He's going to be on the best bike, and the dude knows how to ride. The dude knows how to go fast.
That he does.
Bautista, I'll be surprised if anybody picks him up, to be honest with you, man.
Yeah, because
maybe somebody will pick him up, but I don't know, man. For some reason, I just doubt that anybody's going to want to pick him up, man.
Because Ethan Guevara, he's going to Honda factory, right?
Yeah.
So that seat's gone, and
Petrucci got a seat too, right?
BMW.
Petrucci got BMW's top rack seat.
Yeah.
So Annoni,
Annoni's team, I think the team he's on is going away. Annoni's looking for a different ride.
That's what I'm saying. So him, Bautista will be looking for rides. And Jake already got a ride. Jake Dixon got a ride. So
I don't know, man. I don't think I'd keep Gannone is a good rider. He's going to give you a top 10, but I don't think he's ever going to give you a championship. I think his championship days are behind him, not in front of him. And same thing with Bautista. If he doesn't have the exact right package, you're going to have to listen to him bitch every weekend. And if I want to listen to a 5'2" Latin person bitch, marry a Latina, bro.
Yeah. And the teams are just going to go younger riders at this point. It's tough for a team to sit here and say, I'm going to get a guy for 1 or 2 years that's in their 30s when they're young guys in their 20s that will kind of give them the same result. Also
a guy that's going to be asking for top dollar because, hey, I'm a former this, I'm a former that, you're a former a lot of things. Right now, you a present loser without a job. So I'm not going to pay you former championship rate for a guy that is not currently a championship. And that's the problem, man. A lot of these guys will come into these contracts with their ego trying to, write bills that they, nobody wants to cash for them anymore. If we see Bautista on a bike, man, I doubt it'll be a factory bike.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be a satellite bike.
His Ray seat is the only seat, right? Ray. That'll be the only seat that he can get factory on. And you're not going to give that to Remy?
I'd rather give it to Remy.
Yeah.
Rather give it to Remy. I'd rather give it to. I can name 6 other young guys that I'd rather give that bike to than Bautista, man.
Yeah.
Because that bike requires a certain kind of rider to make it go fast. When you have to compete against the Ducati and you have to compete against the Aprilia and you're down on horsepower, the Yamaha requires a certain kind of rider that can really squeeze it out. And Bautista's not that rider, man. Bautista needs a fast bike to go fast. Yamaha is not a
What
fast
about
bike.
what about the times when Bautista was winning the championship? I mean, was it because him being light and no weight added, and like
Well, if
was
you
his
think
riding
about,
style different?
so when he first went to Ducati, that very first season, I think they won the first 6 or 7 or 8 races in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, there's a rule that kicks in that reduces your RPMs by like 500 RPM or something like that at the top end to try to keep you from running away with it. And once they reduced the RPM, all of a sudden Bautista became the crash truck's #1 customer. He couldn't keep the bike with the rubber side down to save his life. And after that year, he didn't even last that year. After that year, he left and went to Honda.
Yeah, he went to Honda, and then Redden came.
And Redding came to Ducati.
Did 2 years with Ducati.
And Honda couldn't, and Bautista couldn't do anything with that Honda. Because now you're on a bike that is even slower, doesn't have the power, can't make up for it, blah, blah, blah. Then he went back to Ducati and he won his championship.
Ships
back to back. And then all of a sudden they were like, you know, a lot of these riders were complaining, especially the bigger riders, like, hey, you know what? I don't play basketball because I wasn't born 6'7". I'm not going to go play basketball and be like, yo, everybody here needs to play on their knees to make it equal for me. I know the sport I went into, it's a sport for 6'2" guys. I'm not that guy. I could be the Spud Webb of the team, but I'm not going to be the Dominique Wilkins of the team. I wasn't born that way. It just happens to be that some motorcycle racers are these tiny little horse jockeys. But when you got guys that are even like 5'7" that are starving themselves to try to get down to 130 pounds just to get an extra horsepower, you know, you gotta find that competitive balance between the bike, the rider, and these other riders. We can't just have all horse jockeys when there's other talented guys, and we can't ask these talented guys to be supermodel, waif models, and purge and not feed themselves and starve themselves to death to try to get an extra horsepower by losing an extra 3 kilos, 2 kilos, whatever it is. So they added ballast to the bike. They came up with this thing, and Ducati fought it for a while. Like, this isn't a new thing. Ducati fought this minimum bike rider weight limitation for a while. And when they finally put it into play, what happened? Now Bautista's complaining, oh, it's not even for me. It's not fair for me. It's harder for me to turn the bike, to stop the bike because I have this extra ballast and blah, 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 blah. But go eat some more food. Either put the ballast in your ass or put the ballast in your bike.
That's what I was gonna say. He needs to eat more before so he can get a ride, so he can take some weight out the bike.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he may seem over here. They tend to come over here after they can.
Maybe he's good for bagger racing. Maybe he could be in that King of the Baggers, GP Cup.
All right.
Or he can be Josh Herron's teammate. You know, Ducati New York or something.
Sure, they get along great.
I could see that. That would be interesting.
There's a reason that team only has one bike, man. Having 2 bikes in Superbike is super expensive. Like, you talk to any of the Superbike teams that are riding a 2-rider team, it's really expensive, man. And then you get a guy like Bautista, he's not going to want to come to the U.S. for $350,000 to ride on our shitty tracks.
You're 40. It's almost over. You better come on over.
I might be 40, but I'm 40 with all these World Superbike wins, MotoGP champion, Moto 125, 250. I might be 40, but I come with a lot of cachet. You guys brought Pecco. I mean, what you guys? You brought Loris Baz here, who doesn't have the accolades. He doesn't have the resume that Bautista has. You brought who else did they bring here? Petrucci, who doesn't have the resume that Bautista has. Like, you guys have brought a lot of the guys here that don't have the resume that Bautista has. I have the resume.
What's his last name?
Javier did wipe the floor with the Super Sport class.
Yeah.
He cleaned the floor with the Super Sport class. I ain't got it. They put him up there against 17-year-olds. He destroyed them. That wasn't even fair, bro.
What's his name? I drawing a blank, but
Bradley
he rode
Smith
the
is here
Suzuki.
now. Wait, he's
Bradley Smith, I think he's done for the season. I think
I think he
he
got hurt,
broke
right?
like 3 ribs or 4 ribs. Now, he got hurt when that bike. That's a 700-pound bike rolling over top of you. That's gonna hurt, man.
I mean,
I
listen,
think he broke like 3 or 4 ribs.
He used to get hurt a lot in MotoGP too, man.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Bradley, like he was fast or he was hurt.
Yeah, man.
So,
I still don't want to get run over by a bagger, yo.
Tech 3 Yamaha days.
I'll take a Twins Cup bike, but I don't want a bagger.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, on that note, man, we'll get out of here. I want to thank you guys for coming on. TJ with Two Wheels and Coffee, the real Luis Ortega, the numbers guy. My name is Rex 45. It's the Be Forever Cool podcast. Peace.
Peace.